Hello and welcome to this week's pre-spring break edition of the Rambler Sports Locker. I'm Benita Gigerella.
And I'm Bridget Sheeran. It's been a busy week for Rambler Athletics, so let's get you caught up on what's going on.
For the first time in Loyola's history, the track and field teams completed a clean sweep of the Horizon League Indoor Track and Field Championships held at Youngstown State over the weekend. The win marks the first team title on the men's side since 1980 and the women's first team title in history. Senior Declan Murray led the way for the men's team, coming in first place in the men's 800-meter race. Murray and teammates Mike Wetzel, Jake Manzicki, and Kevin Glassstetter would then go on to crush the Horizon League's 4x400-meter relay record by more than 3 seconds. On the women's side, senior Gina Valgoy came in first place in the mile race, while also posting the second best time in the 3,000-meter, coming in shortly behind teammate Megan Janezik. After the meet, Murray received Horizon League Male Track Athlete of the Year honors, while Valgoy was crowned the Women's Individual Scoring Champion. Coach Randy Hasenbank was named Horizon League Indoor Coach of the Year. The track and field team will next complete in the Alex Wilson Invitational on March 1st and 2nd in South Bend, Indiana. The meet will be the final chance for competitors to qualify for the NCAA Indoor Championships taking place March 8th and 9th.
The women's basketball team has been on a roll recently. They beat Cleveland State 72-67 on Monday, extending their winning streak to 6 games. The Ramblers were led by sophomore forward Simone Law, who scored a career-high 29 points in the victory. The game was close for most of the contest, but a couple of key plays by Troy Hamrick and Lindsey Booker in the final minutes of the game sealed the win for Loyola. The win improves the Ramblers to 13-13 overall and 8-5 in the Horizon League. Loyola's next game will be against Milwaukee next Thursday at Gentile Arena. That will be one of the final 3 regular season games before the Horizon League Conference Tournament begins.
The men's basketball team took on Kent State in the ESPN Bracket Busters event last Saturday at Gentile Arena. Coming into the game, the Ramblers were undefeated at home in non-conference play, but they couldn't defend their home court against the Golden Flashes and fell 70-63. The Ramblers were without academic All-American Ben Avercamp and Cully Payne once again due to injuries. The Ramblers led by 11 points 8 minutes into the game, but fell behind by 5 heading into halftime. With 12 seconds remaining, Loyola had possession of the ball and trailed by 5 points, but a missed three-pointer sealed the game for Kent State. Christian Thomas was the star of the game with a career-high 31 points in 38 minutes. He recorded a double-double with 11 rebounds.
This past Saturday, the men's volleyball team took on Ball State at Gentile Arena. Though the first set started out slow for the Ramblers, their offense soon picked up behind outstanding play from outside hitter Tomin Jeski. The freshman from Wheaton, Illinois, tallied the most kills in the match for Loyola with 16. He was followed by redshirt junior Joe Smalzer, who had 13 kills from the right side. Though Ball State battled in each set, the Ramblers won in 3, 25-21, 25-23, and 25-20. The Ramblers take on Ohio State in Columbus on Friday, March 1st.
No college arena would be complete without a student section packed full of wild and crazy sports fans. Joe Flaherty took to Gentile Arena to find out more about Loyola's most avid group of supporters, the Rambler Rowdies.
Most Loyola students probably still don't know what a Rambler is, and that's okay, because they definitely know how to get rowdy. There's no better place to do that than at Gentile Arena as part of the Rambler Rowdy student section. Vice President and Senior Alexa Vanderhey says this tradition started in 2005 during the Jim Whitesell era of the basketball program.
He had really wanted to have a large student section. He was really adamant about it. And kind of that's just how it got started. And so they had a lot of people interested in it.
There's still hundreds of students involved in the group, but one of their biggest backers isn't a student at all. It's men's head basketball coach Porter Moser.
Porter is one of our biggest fans, next to Sister Jean, obviously. But he shows a great amount of support for us. He is there doing whatever it takes to get people to his games, because obviously that's like the number one thing that he wants.
On game days, you can find the Rowdies in the student section at Gentile Arena, screaming, cheering, and giving the Ramblers a home court advantage. But when they're not busy being rowdy, they like to get together outside Gentile to have a good time.
We've recently had a very successful basketball social, and so we had pizza, the whole team was there, all of the coaching staff. So we kind of hold these events to get to know the players off of the court, so we know who we're cheering for, and we get to know, like, they're humans, they're students just like us.
Meeting the athletes, courtside seats, and free food? Where do I sign up?
The first step is like us on Facebook, Loyola Ramblers Rowdies, and The next step is just kind of, you can message us, you can email us. We'll basically sign you up whenever, you come to us.
The best part? The price.
It only costs $5, $5 for the whole year. And in the end, that's not that much when everything at Loyola costs $5 besides their tuition.
Vanderhei wants to make her final year as a Rowdy a memorable one. As a head of PR, she's using social media to raise awareness. So if you've been feeling rowdy lately, stop by Facebook and like the group's page by searching Loyola Ramblers Rowdies, or give their Twitter account a follow, @Rambler Rowdies. But the best way to show support is by showing up to games, even if you're not in the group.
Whether they're Rambler Rowdies or not is really not our main goal. We just want a huge student section.
And don't worry, if basketball isn't your thing, the Rowdies have big plans for the future.
We've been able to get to more volleyball games, women's basketball, and we want to branch out from just basketball. We're really interested in getting fans and supporters for every sport.
You stay rowdy, Loyola. For the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Joe Flaherty.
If you've ever been to a basketball game at Loyola, then you've probably seen a giant wolf wandering the stands. His name is Lou, and he is more than just the Ramblers mascot. Megan Carabelli spent a day with Lou Wolf and discovered just who this lovable mascot is.
He's gray. He's hairy. He has a removable head. He is Lou Wolf. Not many people know much about Loyola's favorite mascot, but the Rambler Sports Locker got an inside look on what it's like to be Lou Wolf. Born in the Gentile Arena in 1870, Lou Wolf has evolved into the loudest, craziest fan you will ever see in the crowd. He's also a bit of a lady killer. While he thought about joining the basketball team, he found out that he was better at pumping up the crowd than playing basketball. When asked what his favorite part about the game is, Lou said, his other game day duties include dancing, the t-shirt toss, giving away prizes, and playing patty cake. While he can be a really big show-off, Lou is actually just a big sweetheart. In his free time, Lou enjoys riding roller coasters, playing 10-year-olds in basketball, and Harlem shaking. So the next time you're at a Loyola basketball game, make sure you high-five the lovable, the laughable, the only Lou Wolf. For the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Megan Carabelli.
Women's rights, track and field, hockey. What do all of these things have in common? Nothing, except they are all topics of discussion for the Weekly Ramble.
Thanks, Benita. I'm Steve Manny. Welcome to the Weekly Ramble, where our producers don't let us have clever intros. This is Richard P. Murphy and Ryan Cole. And since we have a couple of women on the set, we're going to start off by talking about some women that were in the spotlight last weekend, and we're going to talk about Ronda Rousey, who's the headliner of the UFC event last Saturday. She beat Liz Carmouche handedly in the first ever women's UFC event title fight. And Danica Patrick starts in the pole for the Daytona 500. That's the first time that's ever happened, and she had the best finish a woman's ever had in a NASCAR race. So I guess the question for you guys would be, is this something that's going to happen in the future? Are we going to see this in months to come, or is this just a one-time deal?
It's not that it's a one-time deal. I just think that there are already enough women's sports. Like there's a WNBA, there's a women's hockey league, women's football league. They're just like not being brought to the front. And I just don't see the fact that Danica Patrick did well in the race to be like changing that.
She did do well. Brian, what do you think?
I'd have to disagree just because I feel like with so many sports integrating nowadays, times are changing. Women are just kind of getting their foot in the door. I definitely think that we can see more women in sports to come.
All right, and I'll agree with you, Ryan, if you won't be a hypocrite. Do you know the name of the women's WNBA team in Chicago? Point Bridget Murphy. 1 point for Bridget Murphy. Next question. The Loyola men's and women's track and field team just won the indoor season after winning the cross-country season. If they get the third season outdoor, that'll be the Triple Crown. How big is this second season for the Loyola Ramblers?
Huge. Fast. Huge.
This is huge. This is huge news. Not only is this getting Loyola's name out there with a title, but Milwaukee's men's track and field has taken 18 consecutive seasons winning the indoor track and field. So to win after that, I mean, that just blows everything out of the water.
Right. V. Murph, what do you say about that?
I also agree. It's a huge deal for Loyola, but I also think that it's the biggest deal because not a lot of the other sports are super ready to jump leagues like we're planning or we're looking to do in the future sometime. But having sports like track and field and cross country that are consistently winning titles is really good for Loyola to join a different league. It just makes us more appealing.
You know, I actually talked to Chris Lehman, who's one of the guys that works on our show, and he told me this is the biggest thing that's ever happened for track and field. So I'm going to have to go with Ryan on this one. You're making up for the Chicago Sky dilemma there. But all right, we're tied at 1, and we're going to start talking about some hockey. So the Chicago Blackhawks now, in case you haven't heard, haven't lost yet this year unless they happen to lose to the Blues tonight.
Everyone's heard.
Everyone's heard. And this is the best start that the team has ever had since the 2006-2007 Anaheim Ducks. So what do you think are the odds that they go on to win the Cup?
I'm going to go with a 90%. I mean, even though I'm a Wings fan, I do like to root for the Hawks when I'm here in Chicago. And the past 3 teams that have had as good of a start as the Hawks have had, they've all won the Stanley Cup. And so percentage-wise, it should be 100% that they're going to win, but there's always chance error, so I went with 90.
100% or 90%, those are some big numbers. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Ryan, what do you think?
I'm going to give it a 53% chance that they're going to win the Stanley Cup. I mean, I love the Blackhawks. 53. I mean, in the range between 60 and 53% that they're going to win. Even though they have done so well so far this season, there always is room for error, and I definitely think that that could have something to play with whether they win the Stanley Cup. So.
Well, I would love to say that the Blackhawks are going to have a good chance, but 90%, that's ridiculous.
Did you hear the statistics, though?
That's too low.
No team, except for in the last 10 years, except for the 2008 Detroit Red Wings that you like, has won the Stanley Cup with the best record going into the playoffs. So I'm going to have to give this one to Ryan, with even still too high of a number probably. All right, so let's talk about a little bit more hockey. Next year, you probably heard about a little bit of a realignment that's coming out, and nothing's finalized yet, but the plan right now has the Red Wings going to the East, Blackhawks going to the Central Division. They're going to split up the divisions. It'll be a little less travel time, but they're not going to see as many of those big rivalry games. What do you guys think about that?
I definitely think that that's a good idea. It sucks that they're kind of breaking up the rivalry, but they're still going to be playing against each other, so they're still going to have those great games. It's just going to save travel time, so for some of the big teams, they don't have to go as far. I think that's something really good for the teams.
All right, V-Murph, what do you think about this?
I'm going to have to disagree. Money-wise, fan-wise, excitement-wise, rivalries are probably the best part of sports. And if you break up a rivalry, then it's just the fans might lose interest, and it's just not going to be as fun for Detroit and Chicago, the rivalry there.
Yeah, if it weren't for rivalries, the Dallas Cowboys wouldn't stay in the NFC East. So we're going to have to go with point for Bridget Murphy. All right, tiebreaker question. One more here, guys. We're talking about some basketball. Now, this is just a rumor right now. You might have heard about it. But LeBron James has been talking a little bit, or hasn't been talking, but there's been some rumors going that he might be thinking about leaving the Miami Heat after his 2014 season. Yeah, he has an option to opt out and maybe to go back into Cleveland to play with Kyrie Irving. What do you guys think? Is this complete BS, just a little bit of BS? What do you think?
First of all, am I the only one that's sick of being super concerned about LeBron's decisions about where he's going to play? And I'd hate to bring this up because it's kind of a sore subject still, especially for people who are from the Cleveland area like myself. He promised the Boys and Girls Club of Akron that he was going to stay in Cleveland till he won a ring. He didn't do that, and if he's going to lie to children, he's probably going to lie to the rest of us.
Lie to children. All right, Ryan, you got your hands full here.
Again, I think this is complete BS. I don't think there's any way that he's going to be opting out. And even if he did, I don't think that his team would be as accepting of him back since he did leave them in the first place. So, like I said, I agree with her. Lying to children's not good, but I definitely think this is BS that he's going to be going back to his team.
All right, when Bridget said lying to children, that is lying to fans. Oh! Bridget Murphy. Bridget, congratulations. We would normally put in a witty end here, but we're not allowed to, so we're just going to send it back to the desk. Thanks, guys.
Enlightening as always, guys. Spring break is next week, and if you're like us at the Rambler Sports Locker, you'll want to make sure your trip involves sports. We took a look at some of the top sports events Loyola students can check out next week. Here's Brendan Bond with more.
To a close, winter still is a grip on Chicago, and many students are looking to get away for spring break. If you love baseball but can't wait until April and need some fun in the sun, head south to Florida and check out the Grapefruit League action. or you can go watch some Cactus League games in Arizona. While in Arizona, get in a game of golf. The snow that delayed the PGA tournament earlier in February should be gone by now. If cold and snow are what you're looking for, though, hop on a flight to Anchorage, Alaska for the Iditarod race. Based on the legend of Balto, the Iditarod is a dog sled race from Anchorage to Nome. They start mushing on March 2nd. Closer to home, the IHSA Boys High School Tournament takes place in Peoria, Illinois. The 1A and 2A finals will take place on March 8th and 9th. If you need more basketball in your life, you can always check out D. Rose's rehab recovery and see if he'll play for the Bulls in the following week. Or Loyola fans will rejoice when on March 5th they tip off in the Horizon League tournament. Other conference tournaments that are going on next week include the Ohio Valley Tournament in Nashville, Tennessee, and the Arch Madness, the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament in St. Louis. Of course, if you aren't going anywhere and you want to stay in Chicago, the hottest ticket in town is the Blackhawks. Madhouse on Madison will be rocking as they try to continue their unbeaten start to the season. For the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Brendan Bond.
That will do it for us here at the Rambler Sports Locker. Don't forget to like our Facebook page and follow our Twitter and Instagram. I'm Benita Gingerella.
And I'm Bridget Sheeran. Enjoy your spring break, and don't forget to turn off the lights.